Hey everyone, Michael Anthony here. Van Halen, Chickenfoot, Sammy in the Circle. But anyway, you're listening to the only podcast that is dedicated to breaking down the entire Van Halen catalog one track at a time. And the podcast will rock. Ow!
Hello, baby!
Hello, all you rockers, rockettes, and everything in between. You have joined us for a new edition of And the Podcast Will Rock. Welcome back to the show. If you're new here, we are the show that dives into the catalog and discography of one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, Van Halen, one track at a time. I am your co-host, Mark Kameyer. With me, as always, Corey Morissette. Corey, we're not doing it live this time. What's up?
We're not. I'm still recovering from the epic marathon 3.5 hour live show we did a couple of weeks back. But I tell you what, it went really well. And you and I have been chatting, Mark. We got ideas for other live shows. So I'm thinking maybe we do one of these once a month. What do you think?
I think why not? It would be it seemed to go pretty well. Everyone had a good time. We got a lot of good feedback from people that tuned in, whether they tuned in live or just tuned in later. It was really good. So hey, why not? For season 2, let's change it up a bit. And I think we should do a live show at least once a month. I'm down.
But I tell you what, Brad Gold, who's someone I've been chatting with through Messenger on Twitter, just kind of threw this out here. But New Year's Eve bash. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. Doesn't even have to be on New Year's Eve. We could do it like the night before, because I know you're young, you're hip, you're probably going to be out partying and stuff. I'll be playing board games with my kids. That's how boring I am. But maybe sometime around there, we do some sort of New Year's Eve bash.
Maybe so. Yeah, that's still up in the air. It's a long way away, but hey, you never know. Tune in. Stay tuned in, you guys, for the word on that. But before that, let's get into our show. Corey, we're not alone, are we?
No, we are not. This is one of the Van Halen fans that reached out early on into our run, and we are just finally getting to. So thank you very much for your patience, and welcome to the show, Matt. Now, how do I say your last name? Matt LaCasse, is that right? Or
you're close. It's LaCasse, but I get it all kinds of ways, so it's all good, man. Yeah.
How's it going tonight, Matt?
It's going great, boys. Thanks for having me on. I love the show. Like I said, reached out early, and I've been listening to most of everything you guys have done since then. Enjoying it. Enjoying the conversation.
Yeah, Matt came out and he said out of the 52, he's listened to 47, and the 5 he hasn't. It all kind of depends on the song that was spun. So I totally get that. Even though I think
Dirty Water Dog. How many? Yeah. No, how many say I was? That was pretty great. All the rest of those songs. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting picks of songs from a particular album. Won't name it here, but the listeners, they know.
Well, as you usually say, we don't want to be mean to the main guy or the head singer guy, because we all know he's a great guy and he does not deserve the crap he gets for that album. But what are you going to do?
Exactly right. Now, before we get into anything Van Halen, I just wanted to throw it back to Mark, because Mark's another guy he's a great guy, and he's a singer, and you had a big gig just last night as we're recording this, Mark. Tell us all about that.
Well, we, as in myself and a cavalcade of musicians from the city of Nashville, just a whole bunch of us got together to pay tribute to Linkin Park, and specifically Chester Bennington, the late vocalist who's no longer with us anymore. It was for charity. It was for the One More Light Foundation, which Chester Bennington helped start. And it is still actively going. It's still being run, and we raised quite a bit of money for this event. We made no money whatsoever. We're just we got together and we played a bunch of Linkin Park songs, all in the name of charity, to honor this man's legacy and his career, as well as the band that he was a part of, and also to bring awareness to suicide prevention, because suicide ain't no joke, you guys. I know we like to have fun on here, but we like to be serious from time to time, and that's a serious matter. And on a personal note, it's a serious matter to someone like me, And I've always been a humongous fan of Linkin Park. Say what you will about the type of music that they play and where they went in their careers, but I've always had a soft spot for them. So to be part of this group, to pay tribute and homage to the band, well, that was a real treat. So, and I can honestly say I did not hate my performance. So that's a good step. That's a sounding endorsement. But I got to tell you, the entire night was so much fun, full of incredible musicianship. I mean, I'm very lucky that the groups that I travel with and I get to do these shows with are just filled. There is no shortage of talent amongst these people. So if you were there, or if you saw the pictures, the videos, everything, any support, thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of it, and tune in for the next one, because I'm sure there will be more along down the road.
Now we're going to see some clips from this show being uploaded at any time, Mark.
There are clips on my personal Facebook, so maybe I'll put it out on Twitter. I've got them. There's pics surfacing. Find it on Twitter at Mark the Bat, or at Mark the Bat on Instagram as well. So I'll be posting them.
What's your favorite Linkin Park song to do?
My favorite one was the one I got to do last night. Actually, I got to sing "Breaking the Habit," which the night was kind of named after this song, and that song was a very personal song to Chester himself. It was written about him trying to go through sobriety and the way the bandmates were affected by his presence when he was not doing so well, and it was a wake-up call because he wanted to keep the train going, as it were, and he did. So unfortunately, I wish he could have kept fighting a little bit longer, but sometimes it's just too much. So that song was personal to the band, and I'm glad I got to do that song in particular, because it's a very, very powerful one.
That's awesome, buddy. Well, I can't wait to check out the clips. I know we're trying to find a night to record this because work and everything was getting in the way, and you're like, I can't miss rehearsal. I can't miss the gig. This is a big one for not only Linkin Park, but for the venue that you were performing at too. So can't wait to check out those clips. But maybe let's throw it back to our guest here, Matt, and talk a little Van Halen. And Matt, maybe tell us all how you kind of got into Van Halen.
All right. So I guess 1984 is when it starts. By the way, Mark, that's awesome. That thing about Chester and everything you just said, that hits home. That is, I'm wearing a Soundgarden shirt tonight. So I mean, yeah, Suicide.
Yes.
I mean, just every part of that with these artists. You think they're isolated, and they're not isolated, or they're in great shape, and then stuff happens. And anyway, I mean, that Chester was one of the greatest. So anyway, born in 1974, so 1984, I'm 10 years old. I'm at home, I got MTV, and it's Jump and Panama are the first two things I see, right? But then also at the same time, they were playing in a heavy rotation the 3 videos from the Fair Warning shows. So it was Unchained, So This Is Love, and Hear About It Later. And it was Unchained. Nice. It was them live on stage, David Lee Roth on the drum riser, everybody up, doing his thing, and the splits and the Van Halen on fire behind, and Alex with the gong. I rode my bike to Kmart, and the first 2 cassettes I bought at 10 years old were Unchained and, or not Unchained, Fair Warning in 1984. And that's kind of it. I mean, I still listen to Fair Warning today. Does it make me a loser? I don't think so. I love every part of Van Halen, from the Roth days, which are my favorite, all the way through all the Sammy days. So I don't really have much of I'm more of a David fan for sure, but I've seen Sammy more. Okay. So I don't know, it started young. It's the first thing I've listened to, and I still listen to it, still in my rotation all the time. I wish David was better these days, but what are you going to do?
And as you say, Matt, you said you've seen Sammy more. So I got to say, who does the Roth era tunes better, Roth or Sammy?
Oh, it's Roth 1,000%. So here's the thing. I've seen Roth solo 3 times.
Mm.
Sammy solo 3 times. One of those in Cabo. I've seen Van Halen with Sammy. Yeah, I did that. And that was a crazy story, which I'll tell you later. But Sammy with Van Halen, like I graduated high school in 92, so the Fuck album comes out. I saw them in 91, 92, then again in 95, right? And then I didn't see Raw Van Halen until the reunion. So, at the end of the day, those shows were great just to see it, but they were better in 2008 than they were in 2012 or 15. Like in 15, it was pretty bad. But at the same time, the band was so tight and Wolfie was so tight. I love all the iterations at the end of the day. I and it's hard for me to really say one singer should do one thing versus the other. Like, I don't like Sammy singing David's songs, and I don't think Sammy liked singing David's songs, right?
Probably not.
So, right, like Sammy doing "Ain't Talking About Love" wasn't his bag, right? At the end of the day,
man, he sounds so good doing it, though.
I will agree with you. That's the one I think he did okay, but like the rest of them, he didn't give a shit, and God bless him for it. Sammy's his guy, David's his guy. Those two dudes are two pivotal dudes in rock and roll, right? Like, I mean, the two of them can't sit in a room together, and I don't blame them. I'd rather have a beer with Sammy, but I kind of agree with Dave more when it comes to stuff. I don't know.
Hot takes all around.
A lot of hot takes. But I'll say this at the end of the day. My one take is this, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy has one Achilles. The Achilles heel to Sammy is the fact that he could have been the greatest frontman of all time, right? He's got the looks. He's got the voice. He can play guitar when he wants to. He can do all of these things. His range is, forget about it. There's nobody like him. He can sing Geddy Lee. He can sing Down Low Blues. He can do whatever he wants to do. He's the worst lyricist of all. For a heavy metal, for a rock band as big as Van Halen, he is the worst lyricist ever. He's so bad at lyrics, he got kicked out of Van Halen for it.
I don't know. It's how many commercial successful albums later, all with his bad lyrics. Well, look, like I said, one thing about this, I won't completely disagree with you. I will say one thing about doing this show is the journey we have taken, really analyzing the music and the lyrics of certain songs. And, I've been pretty adamant that David Lee Roth writes some pretty stupid lyrics. However, I have also been proven wrong on more than one occasion. And as Corey loves to point out, Sammy is not immune to bad lyrics. And this is true. I maintain that Sammy is also, when you say like he plays guitar when he wants to. It's like, yeah, he can also write some killer lyrics when he wants to. You say what you want about whatever that percentage might be, whether it's like a 60-40 bad to good, or the other way around, or like an 85 to 50. I don't know, whatever, it's fine. But I will say, I think that deserves a bit more of a dive to find out who is the worst lyricist in rock music, because I think Gene Simmons would like a word with you. Yeah, I said it.
Well, and I will say this.
I won't disagree with that, actually. Yeah, he's that too.
It's a very good point. But actually, Sammy Hagar, in an interview with Guitar World just a few days ago, even admitted that during his Van Halen days, they were just goofing off and he was doing lyrics. And he even says he's pretty embarrassed by a lot of the silly lyrics that he wrote back in the day. I'm just looking at the quote here. He said, back then, Eddie and I were doing these crazy acrobatics where I could sing crazy lines and he'd go nuts on the guitar. When I was in Van Halen, at least in the early days, it was all about having fun. He said, I hate to say I did that, write silly lyrics. He said, I hate to say I did that in Van Halen, but I did. So even he kind of comes out and says, yeah, a lot of my stuff, especially early Van Halen stuff, lyrically, maybe was just kind of silly.
Because, I mean,
here's the thing. Go ahead. ahead,
I
Mark.
was just gonna say, like, I don't think he's gonna try and sit there and defend Up for Breakfast because you just
That's a
you
later
can't.
one.
But
I know that's
see,
a later
to
one
me-
too. Yeah, it's like just don't.
I'll say this though, to me, that song is so stupid. It's a toss up. I'm not even thinking about the lyrics. I'm thinking about the jam and the rhythm that he sings, and he's great at that. But like when he gets serious, is when it gets worse. All right. If I were you, and you were me, ain't no one I'd rather be. But if I were Barney, I'd throw me in a tree. Like, what are you doing? That's that song's feeling. That song is so bad. And it's a great song, but his lyrics are so stupid. It's hard to get past it. I don't know. It's again,
There are a lot
I
of
love the
a
man.
lot of LA
love
hair metal bands had some pretty damn bad lyrics as well. So I don't know. Like the
Van
more I keep thinking
Halen's
about it.
better. Van Halen's better than that.
That's
bullshit.
true. That's true.
I mean, yeah, definitely better. But I'm talking if we're just gonna talk about rock lyrics and being just real, like who's the worst lyricist? I don't know. Sammy might be. If you weigh all the bad against the good,
Right.
I don't know that ratio. Someone listening, please do the math. But I just feel like there's probably a laundry list of other lyricists that are worse than Sammy. But again, I don't know. Maybe that's another show for another day.
Sammy's written what 2,000 songs. There's got to be a failure rate. There's no doubt about that.
Of course.
I'm really hoping we get a Sammy track tonight. Now, who else? Put up your
Yes.
hands, going to Sammy track. Yeah.
I obviously want
Let's
to
take it spanked. Let's go spank.
but we can't get into that just yet because we have to discuss the thing that we always discuss on the show, the polls, because we had 2 polls since we had 2 shows, a live show, one back to back. Corey, what are the polls telling us?
All right. Well, the first poll is for the first track we did, which was Tattoo from A Different Kind of Truth. It finished up with 90 votes, 70% What Dreams Are Made Of, 30% This Stream Is Over. I'll just cherry pick some of the best comments that are made from people who weren't on the show so we can go a little quicker here.
Yeah.
Truckman5150 says, great song with some clever lyrics by Dave. I wish the album would have been more original, new material rather than older stuff from the archives. Would have been nice to get one more album like this with Sammy. So there you go. Sammy fan wants one more album. Yep. Robert Cato says, great song. I agree with the commentary. It should not have been the first single, but I love it. Then again, I love all of Van Halen. So there you go. Thank you, Robert. Rihanna says, great song. Love whole album. Jonathan Meisner, good song. Agreed that the chorus is the weakest part. Shouldn't have been the first single, though. You and Your Blues first, Chinatown second, and then Tattoo. That's just me, though. And those are 3, I think, pretty good choices from that album. That should have been the first single. Van Halen lyrics. Did anyone ever think they'd see the day DLR recorded a new full album with Van Halen? Now that's what dreams are made of. Could not agree more with that statement. There you go.
Yeah.
Michael Riggs says, decent little rocker. Absolutely. Here's a dissenting vote. Will Leinert, who comments on all of our polls, says, this song blows. Come on now. So definitely not a fan of Tattoo.
How do you really feel, Will? Please.
Yeah. Yeah. Quit beating around the bush.
Calm
Will.
down. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's not for everybody. That's for sure.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Gene Hickey said, been randomly shouting sexy dragon magic all morning at work. Customers are not thrilled. Great show last night, though.
Yeah, no shit, because what even is the, I mean, like I ultimately voted yes for the song, but I mean, I'm still not over that line.
Listen, I can tell you, driving in my car with my son, who at that point was 6, and making him listen to Van Halen, whenever Sexy Dragon Master would come, that was the thing he would scream from the back. And like,
Wow.
So yeah, it appeals to 4-year-olds.
There you go.
Mark. So it's a 4-year-old in all of us.
Yeah, noted.
Yeah.
All right. Scott Monroe says, solid rocker with a great solo. DLR is at the top of his game lyrically. A thunderous opener that, even if it wasn't the best single choice, is not a track I'd ever skip. Very well said there. Jonathan Todd says, I don't get the hate. Great song, great lyrics, good hook. What do I care about what song was a single win? So there you go. Maybe we're putting too much emphasis on that. Scott Everett says, so sorry I missed the live show, but I am watching on YouTube now. Absolutely love Tattoo.
Yes.
I never thought I would hear Dave and Van Halen again, and this was a dream come true. The music is great. The lyrics are crafty, and the solo is classic Ed. And the video is so much fun. There's something we didn't comment on was the video. Yeah, it's a pretty good video.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I have not seen the video, so there you go.
Yep. Oh, my old buddy Bruins fan 71 says, I hate this. Worst track on the album.
That's the worst track, if you say so.
Sean Geek, who was supposed to be on the show, but got caught up doing some family stuff, said, I still like this one. Yeah, maybe not the best lead off for the album, but man, this one still rocks. Davey Lee Smith says, like She's the Woman, I'm glad to hear the classic EVH Brown sound and the classic DLR Poetry in Motion, or in this case, Poetry in Ink. Also, of course, the DLR humor with the talking after the chorus. Absolutely what dreams are made of. So there's another upvote on that one. Brad Gould, who we mentioned earlier tonight, love this track. Besides EVH's growling yet melodic rhythm playing, he was also singing below DLR in the early parts of the chorus. Added a nice step to the vocals. Driving bass and a killer solo, big win. There you go. Huge fan of Tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Airhead says, good track and a great episode. Solid groove. The chorus is not great, no melodic structure, but have to admit it is catchy. Biggest issue, as with most of A Different Kind of Truth, Dave's doing all the backing vocals, not Ed or Wolf. Gives a Dave solo feel and not a Van Halen feel. Wolf would have killed it. What do you guys think about that one? I agree. Wolf would have killed it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting take, actually. And he's right. Like, that is the one thing I noticed when that came out was I was waiting for the background vocals and there weren't any, and it was all Roth, and it was like, I don't know. I didn't love that song when it came out. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I like it now, but
I definitely
it's
agree.
A grower, not a shower.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Well said. It's I don't know if it would have. I mean, I'm obviously the background vocals being what they are and what they usually are in a Van Halen tune would have provided extra flavor. I don't know that it would have made a great different impact on this particular song or not, but I don't know. In another world, I'm sure those background vocals happened. But I don't know. It's hard to say.
I think that song was a clunker back in the day, and they didn't. They never used it because it was a bit of a clunker. And I think they honestly signed a turd to make it what it was in this iteration, but the fact that it was the first single is an abomination. It kind of maybe it sunk the record for other people, I think, personally. She's the Woman.
Probably so, but I mean, they're like many people have said, this one probably should not have been the track to lure people back into the Van Halen train. But what are you gonna do? But I think it's time we get into the actual, like the real, no offense to Tattoo, but the real poll that I'm curious about is the next one, which is, why can't this be love? Corey, what did the people say?
This one was a little more definitive. 87.9% what dreams are made of. 12.1% this dream is over. So
that is still too high of a number. That's all I'm going to say.
The first comment comes from a buddy of yours, Jono, who I think is the guy who likes to call us out on Twitter for not knowing fucking anything about this band at all.
Oh,
but still listens to the show. So thanks for listening. His comment was, that's not my Van Halen. So he's very much in the Van Halen died in 1984, I guess, camp. Not really liking much of Sammy. I don't agree with that. I'm like Matt. I enjoy every era of Van Halen. But Mark, do you want to respond to that one?
What is your Van Halen? Like, what is that? Did you have like a separate band that you named Van Halen and you're like, this one's all for me? It belongs to me. This one's mine. Because if you're talking about the actual band, they're not yours. They were never yours. They're not ours either. So I don't know what are we doing here?
Give me 1 second on this. So like when I found out that Sammy Hagar was going to be the singer of Van Halen, I was crestfallen to a point of depression as like a 13-year-old. Like, it was ridiculous. And because like I had a babysitter when I was a kid, and he was a Sammy Hagar guy, and I was a Roth guy, and he used to make fun of me. And I'd be like, nah, your guy sucks. And he'd be like, your guy sucks. And then Sammy Hagar joins Van Halen. because if you don't remember, like 84 was 80, Van Halen's 84 was the biggest album that summer, but the other one was VOA,
Right.
Sammy Hagar. And like, I mean, I'm a kid walking around being like, Sammy Hagar's a tool. Like, what are you talking about? Right? Which is stupid, but it was the the dumb videos he had. But then when that song, Why Can't This Be Love comes out, come on. I mean, that blew me away. That's to this day, it's top 20 Van Halen songs for me.
It's a powerhouse.
It's a banger.
Yeah,
it is a powerhouse rock song. I just don't understand. It's like the discourse with the Sammy Camp versus Rothkamp feels like your favorite sports figure went to a different city. And then all of a sudden, it's just like it causes just like mass hysteria. In my case, it's when Tommy B decided to ditch New England and went to Tampa Bay. And we're like, why would you do that? You broke in my heart. And everyone's like, oh, it's not going to work. He doesn't have the Belichick method. And then he won a Super Bowl. So, I don't know what the point of that rant was, but the point is whatever.
The point was you're still bitter about Tom Brady.
I don't understand how you could be a Van Halen fan and love everything David Lee Roth and then be like, oh, that 5150 album sucks. That is the one album that sounds like a Roth album with Sammy singing and Sammy ripping it. I don't know.
And that's the thing. To me, it doesn't sound like a Roth album at all. It sounds like a Van Halen album. It just has, a different singer. So I'll never understand it. But as long as we keep doing this show, the discourse is always going to happen. But all right, what are the people saying, Corey?
All right, let's go back to our friend Scott, who said, Hagar era perfection, it stood the test of time. There you go. Absolutely correct there. Jonathan Todd, who really negotiating, trying to get him back on the show. He's had some family commitments. We'll get him on, though, hopefully soon. He tells a little story here that says, embarrassing, but in 6th grade during reading class, our teacher played this during reading time. I heard it and I was just stunned. I had to learn how to play guitar like that. I learned how to play, but also learned later this was a keyboard song. Love it. So big fan of that one. Scott Everett this time says, I thought Van Halen was dead when Dave left, and then I hear the first single and realized it was all about Ed. So great, a fantastic 80s pop song, which makes the classic Van Halen fans upset, but change is hard. Number 3 on Billboard and drove 5150 to be Van Halen's first #1 album. So see, we can't all be wrong, right?
Right.
And finally, Davey Lee Smith says, this is more nostalgia for me since I grew up with this song. Granted, the Sammy era appealed to the more corporate top 40 radio crowd, and I prefer the more heavy rock version of the band. Still, I'll give credit where it's due. What dreams are made of. So there you go.
There you go. And that may be true. Sammy might have fit the mold of the top 40 sound, but that's not to say that Van Halen with Sammy did not have like complete hard rock bangers. I'm here to tell you they did. If you've been listening to our show, you know that they do. If you've listened to Van Halen outside of the main sort of mainstream singles, you know what they've done with Sammy on the band. So I don't know. It's fine.
Here's the thing. Sammy has the resume. Sammy led Montrose. Sammy is Sammy. Like, Sammy's never done anything weak. Like, unless you don't like Sammy's stuff. You don't like his Sammy country stuff. But like until that point, when he joined Van Halen, he was singer Montrose. And then he was Sammy Hagar. And,
the resume speaks for itself. So yeah,
the dude's a badass. There's no question. Honestly.
So there you have it. But yeah, again, I say that 12%. You're all. Well, I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I don't know. Reevaluate. That's all I'll say. Because that should have been wrong. That should have been a 100%. What dreams are made of. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
All right, Mark.
You can do 12. You can do 12% on Inside. Yeah. But you can't do 12% on Why Can't This Be Love? Anyway.
Oh, fuck it.
There you go.
Inside's like 60-40. Jesus. I'm not a fan of that one. But Mark, I am a fan of what we got on the wheel. Maybe we should spin this damn thing and see what we're going to talk about tonight.
I'm assuming you've primed it. You're ready to do the thing. It's time to spin the wheel.
It's time to manifest. Yeah.
It's time to manifest. That's right. Matt, you're our guest. If you've heard the show, you know what we do. We want to try to manifest a particular track that we want to get excited about talking. So, as our guest, what song do you want to manifest? Or is there a particular song from an album that you want to manifest on the show today?
So I mentioned 3 songs earlier, and the 3 songs are Unchained, So This Is Love, or Hear About It Later. I don't think we've seen any of those 3 on the wheel. Those are the ones I grew up with. I got a lot to talk about. Oakland Scarf and all. Let's go.
So he's got options, got some options. So you never know. I mean, the odds are in your favor. That's the odds are in your favor for that. So we'll see if the wheel wants some fair warning. Corey, how about yourself?
Well, I'm going to echo Hear About It Later. I've been calling for that one since I think episode 1. I've been trying to manifest that one. It's still on there, but I'm going to pick a Sammy too, and I'm in the mood for some fuck tonight. And I'd like to hear a little Top of the World.
Ooh, good call. I was almost going to go with a song from the Fuck album, but I won't. I won't do that. Instead, I'm going to manifest a particular track from Balance. That's right.
Oh,
I'm going to manifest a track called Amsterdam. No reason. I just really want to hear that song.
All right.
Well, what do you say,
people at
boys?
home can't see me right now, so I'm winking very hard.
That's right.
So whenever, if you guys are ready, Corey, if you're ready, if Sammy's ready backstage, let's spin that wheel.
Let's
Freaking out.
Here we go.
All right. Oh, it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. Are we gonna get Unchained?
Oh, yes.
It's yes.
Did I just manifest? I manifested.
You manifested.
You
That's
did.
3 times now. Somebody has come on the show, called their shot, and hit it. Unchained
Nailed
from
it.
Fair Warning. Oh, man, I know you were
To be
nervous
fair,
about the wheel spin.
I called 3 songs, but they were from the same damn album. So I feel good about this. I feel good. Thank you.
And you were nervous about the wheel spin, too. You got to be pretty happy right about now.
I feel great about it. I was excited for the wheel to show whatever it was going to be, but yeah, man, this is the song. This is the song. Can't turn this song. I've heard this song 1 million times. We all have.
That's a
If I'm in
lot
the
of times,
car-
but yes.
Well, I mean, truly, right? This ranks
Yeah.
up with every other song in my mind. This ranks up with every other song that I've heard on the radio too much that drives me crazy. Like I can't listen to Running with the Devil anymore. I can't listen to You Really Got Me anymore. Like I just change it. I've heard Eruption. I know Eruption. I'm done. But in my mind, when Unchained comes on, if I even try to shift that thing, that's a sin. This song is the greatest Van Halen song of all time. It's the one that got me, it hooked me at a young age. It's got the left to right. It's got the Roth vamp. It's got every goddamn thing that Van Halen is made of. Early days. It's the best song.
This is for me, I do recall hearing this on the radio quite a few times, not as much as I would hear some of their other hits. But I remember hearing this one, but it wasn't until I purchased that Best of Volume 1 that I started listening to this song a lot. And I think it's because this one, to me, had more of a harder edge than a lot of their other songs that I recalled listening to at that time. It felt, dare I say, heavier than other Van Halen songs, but yet it still didn't feel like it was outside the realm of what Van Halen was doing at that time. It's very much still core Van Halen, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that David Lee Roth is being the most David Lee Roth ever in this song, but in a good way, in a very good way, because I might poke fun at some of the things Dave does, but man, when he does it well, he does it very well. And this is just the entire band playing what the kids call a banger of a track, and it has never, much like you, Matt, if this thing comes on, I'm not turning it. Like I'm absolutely jamming it. Corey, you got any fond memories of Unchained?
Well, I think Matt kind of said it all. This is the ultimate Van Halen song. And I don't, we shouldn't be tipping our hand this much maybe before we play the song, but we spun what a lot of Van Halen's fans will call the best Van Halen song ever. It's in that conversation, right? So I think on Chuck Klosterman's list of Van Halen songs where he ranked every single song, this was second. And
Wow.
I found the quote here saying, it merely feels like insatiable straight ahead rock, but the lick is freaky, obliquely hovering above the foundation while the drums oscillate between two unrelated performance philosophies.
He nails it. I've seen that list.
Yeah.
I've read that list. I've read that list. He did that list, I think, before he saw Van Halen reunited, and then he did it again after.
Mhm.
But whatever, Postman's great.
Mhm.
The song itself, it's in so much as just being a jam on its own, it will grab you. But then you get into the stereo side of it with the left and the right and everything else. I don't know. It's really hard to put a finger on how great this song is without overstating it, but it's hard to not overstate the fact that, I don't know, it's the live version of this that's on YouTube. It's the band in all their glory in 1982, which I think is probably their best tour when you see anything live with them. Like 84, it's too much broth vamping and stupid shit. 83, they're all drunk. 81, 82, fair warning is when it happens. Like there's a video that exists with this album where he's literally, Roth is on the drum riser. He hits everybody. He's like, everybody up. And he does these splits when the song breaks in, and the rest of them are just dancing around playing the thing, and they're so locked in step, and it's such a heavy tune. I don't know. It's really hard to get past. Unchained is Van Halen to a T.
Well, what do you say we go ahead and get jamming on this one?
Yes, absolutely. This is Unchained from Fair Warning. Right, you talked about the the left right. You got Eddie in the right doing the guitar, then you got Alex totally with the roll coming in on the left. That's fucking amazing.
It's so good.
Also,
I love the crunchy tone. Just that crunchy tone in this song that Eddie's got is just incredible to me.
So cool.
You say, I cannot get there from here, baby. And I don't care where I'm going. Here's to your thin red line. Ooh, I'm stepping over, but you never miss me till
I see you pointing. Did you want me to stop there, Matt?
Yeah, sure. That part. The Roth vocals. I mean, the Roth lyrics, right? Here's to your thin red line. I'm stepping over. Like the way he says it, it's just so immediate and so, I don't know, rebellious. There's something about Roth in this song and this album especially where it's just like, he is what he is, but like in this album, he's a badass.
It's attitude.
It's exactly
tilt, right?
That's exactly what I was gonna say, Corey. It's like it's all attitude, and it's like you can go either way with attitude. You can be too much, or you can do just right. And again, as I said earlier, when Roth is doing his thing and he does it well, he does it very well. The attitude is on point, and big shout out to Michael Anthony though. That this is the song I think that really got me listening to some of the things that he does, and I just love the sort of pulsing way he's playing that bass. It's just kind of like this ongoing pulse drive, and it kind of just makes you feel like there's a heartbeat going on in your ear like constantly. But it's musical, so it's not annoying or anything like that, and it's just perfectly in sync with Alex, and it just love it. Love this bass line.
One thing he doesn't get enough credit for overall are his transitions. His transitions are so good. Like he rides, right? He's dun, 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 dun. Like he goes up and down. He does stuff, especially in this song. Yes, Michael Anthony is worth listening to here. Yeah.
Well, and we're gonna get some classic Michael Anthony vocal here too. On "Thought You Never Missed Me Till I Got a Fat City Address." You want to talk about a lyric? "Blue-eyed murder in a size 5 dress." Come on.
That's good. Yeah, I'm not gonna fight you.
That's the best. It's great. All right.
Here's to your thin red line. Ooh, I'm stepping over. But you never missed me till I got a fat city address. Non-stop talker, what a rocker. Blue-eyed murder in a size 5 dress. Change, nothing stays the same. Unchained, and you hear the ground running. Change, ain't nothing stays the same. Unchained.
Mark, best chorus in Van Halen history, top 5 at least, maybe.
Ooh, I wasn't ready for that question. Yeah, you know what? I'll give it to you at the very least top 5 of their choruses. Yes, I'll say that. That one requires a further think.
Well, fortunately, you got 2 minutes and 20 songs left here.
Yes,
it's
Go ahead, Matt.
definitely top 5. It's top 5. Right, the way it leads into it, it's Roth vamping, and then that crazy bridge, dun 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 dun, and then the way it right back into that chorus, Unchained. I don't know. It's top 5 chorus of any song of any time for me. It's the greatest things. It's a miracle. I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's a rock and roll miracle. Hallelujah.
I can't believe we hit this song. This is the song. This is the one damn song. I can't get my head around it. It's hard for me to explain.
It's the chorus is where you want the hook, and this is definitely the hookiest. So yeah, you might be right, Corey.
It's like an impossible hook after that weird bridge. Sorry, it's an impossible hook after that bridge that is so helter-skelter. It's all over the place. Yep. And then the thing just locks steps, you know?
I love that 4-count Alex gives leading into the chorus, like bang, 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 change. Oh, that's perfect. Good shit.
Don't ask for permission. This is my chance to fly. Maybe enough ain't enough for you, but it's my turn to try. But you never miss me till I got a fat city address.
You even get that attitude from Ed and Mikey on the background vocals on that, right? Like even they're singing with more attitude than they normally do.
They got to match the energy because, you know, like Dave's coming at you full force. So the music is coming at you full force. They can't be timid. They have to come at you too.
It's like they're all angry in a room at the same time, overjoyed by what they're doing. You know, it's just endless, boundless energy.
Yeah, it's like they know that this is cooking, right?
Yeah. I'm sure there's an expert that can actually tell us exactly where they were in their mindset in doing this song. I don't know. I can only assume based on how I'm hearing it.
I'm going to text Greg Ranoff when we're done here and find out, because he would know. He literally wrote the book on early Van Halen.
Oh, can I get his number?
He promised us some swag. Remember, Mark? He said, I got all this Van Halen shit when I die. Who's going to get it all? Mark and I are like, hey, we'll take some right now if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, send it this way. He knows how to find us.
Yeah, send half to Nashville, half to Saskatchewan, and we'll take care of it for you.
There you go.
Nothing stays the same, unchained. And you hit the ground running, change. Ain't nothing stays the same, unchained. Yeah, you hit the ground running.
Oh, Mark Meyer, that guitar solo.
Oh, I know this solo very, very well. I think this might be on top of the fact that at the time this was what I thought was Van Halen's heaviest song. It was the solo that kept me going back. Like I'm purposely listening to Unchained for the solo today. Like tomorrow, I'll probably just listen to it just because I want to hear it. But today, I'm listening specifically for the solo. And I had many days like that because I thought in my young, naive, early musicianship that I'm going to learn how to do this solo and I'm just going to listen to this a lot and eventually I'll play it. Spoiler alert, Corey, I never learned how to do it. I gave up and it's fine. It's sometimes it's okay to give up, kids. It's you understand that like, you know what? I could learn every note, but it still won't come out the same way. So I'm just going to bow out. I don't need to learn the solo, and that's okay. I can just enjoy it.
If the bridge didn't do it, the solo was the death of 1,000 garage trying to play this song. Right? Like, can you imagine, like, hey man, I can play the lick. And then it's like, like that doesn't work. Okay, we get through that, and then let's do the solo. Forget about it.
Like, nope.
Forget about it, Dave. Forget about it.
You got to call in a ringer to it's like who do we know in town that can play guitar really well? Bet they know how to do the solo. And they're like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
This song is ridiculous. Let's go.
Nothing stays the same. Unchanged. Yeah, you hit the ground running. Change. Nothing stays the same. Unchanged. Yeah, you hit the ground running. Woo-hoo! Take a look at this. Hey, man, that suit is you. Woo.
Sorry, were you cueing me, Matt, or were you just mouthing along to the Dave?
I have a hard time listening to that song and not mimicking Dave in that moment. Hey man, that suit is you. It's the coolest. It's just the coolest shit ever. I don't know.
Well, and my favorite part is coming up.
Does that bother you? Does that bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me at all. I love this song and I love that line.
So great. Like it's just them vamping in the studio. You know, this was. I don't know.
It's
rough,
silly.
Probably.
They're going at you. They're going at you pretty hard on this song, and then all of a sudden, like, okay, here's our little respite, just for a minute. They're allowing themselves to be a little silly because this is silly, but in a good way. It gives you sort of a nice little, like I said, a little respite from the heaviness until it all comes back full circle. But yeah, this is a cool little break.
And I'll say at one point, the break in Dave's mind, in this moment, he is a genius when it comes to pathing this band. He's thinking about this in a live show, right? He's like, this is what I'm going to do in a live show, right? One break coming up and snap kick.
Well, and that's the best part when Ted Templeman comes in and says, come on, Dave, give me a break.
Give me a break.
Reading my Van Halen encyclopedia. Apparently that really happened. He thought Dave was being too obnoxious, and he said, come on, Dave, give me a break. And the band liked it so much they left it in the tracks.
I mean, why not? It works.
Oh, it works incredibly well. Here we go.
Some leg tonight for sure.
You'll get some legs tonight, Mark.
That's how you do.
Come on, Dave, give me a break.
Hey, one break coming up. Change. Nothing stays the same. Out of change. Yeah, you hit the ground running. Change.
And I gotta just mention the sort of the crescendo into coming back into the chorus from the one break coming up. You got Michael kind of very slowly like riding that bass line a little bit, and then here comes Alex, boom, like we're back in it. We're just like, that's, you talk about transitions, Matt, like that is a superb transition.
So that's great call. And that's one of the best things this band does and did do. Like, when you think about like Light Up the Sky and some other songs that they do when they go dynamics and they go soft and loud and they come into a thing. I don't know. There's that there's a better band at doing it besides like Metallica maybe or something, where you're going to this place where it kind of calms down, but the band stays high, and the way they come in, it's like like it just rises up. It's so great. I don't know. The best I had.
Well, and that's a good call on Metallica. They're really great at those transitions from going from different tempos in the same song and mixing it all in. And here's another great example of Van Halen doing the same thing. Absolutely.
Ain't nothing stays the same. Unchained. Yeah, you hit the ground running. Change. Ain't nothing stays the same. Unchained. Yeah, you hit the ground running. Change. Ain't nothing stays the same. Unchained.
Unchained by Van Halen. And I love that the moment where it still sounds, the rhythm section is still so big that even when Eddie goes off to do his own little thing back there towards the end as his little let's call it an outro riff, it's still, the song does not dissipate in its heaviness or in its like sort of rocking drive that it's had this whole time, and even with Eddie doing his own thing back there, like the rhythm section is still just holding it so hard. Alex is just like taking the ride for a spin, and Alex just, I'm sorry, Michael just keeping that bass pulse just thriving. I love that.
All right.
Me too.
Yep.
I will say one thing. That's one thing at the end of that song. It does drive. It drives to the end. And another one, if you see this thing live, if you just look at the YouTube video of this song live, it drives and drives and drives and drives and drives until they blow up a gong. And it sounds like it just builds to a crescendo. It's such a such a great way to put it. I mean, Mark, good call. Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's the one thing Van Halen has never struggled with are dynamics. One of the most dynamic rock bands of all time. So that's why we're here, and that's why we're still talking about them.
I love that call in the outro too, because like you said, it builds to that crescendo, excuse me, and then just kind of bleeds out, right? Like just and nice and low on the way down. It's absolutely
one note about the ending of that song on the recorded version is when you listen it all the way out, there's this one little playing.
Yep.
Just one little playing Eddie at the end. It's so funny. And it's there. It's there. You can hear it.
Well, I tell you what, boys, I'm only going to play this clip once on the count of three. Let's all throw in our vote. I'm pretty sure I know which way this one's going to go. So 3, 2, 1. Mark, final thoughts on Unchained.
A clean sweep, no surprise there. I mean, what could we possibly add that we haven't already said? Did we show our hand early? Sure. But as you pointed out, Corey, this is Unchained, and it is one of the most highly regarded of Van Halen's tracks of all of their catalog. And no shocker there, this song rocks. It cooks. Everything about it is primo Van Halen. Like, this is, if people say, when I think of Van Halen, I think of Unchained, who's going to fight you on that? Nobody. At least I would hope nobody, because why would you? This is a prime example of all the things that people love about this band and what makes this band great. You get everything from how heavy they can be, how much of a sort of force they can be reckoned with just in terms of content of the song, your front man being the most charismatic frontman, even in a recording studio. You don't even have to see what he's doing live, just to hear the way he sounds, the way he's presenting the song lyrically and sonically with the vocals, and then and the rhythm section is huge. Eddie is Eddie at the top of his game. I mean, I can wax poetic about that all day. You guys know that. This is top tier Van Halen, Unchained. I can't imagine anyone not thinking that it isn't, but the world's a crazy place. Corey, final thoughts?
Well, I tell you, coming into this podcast, I had Unchained as my favorite Dave era song, and it still is my favorite Dave era song. It might be my favorite Van Halen song of all time. My favorite Sammy song, I think, is still Best of Both Worlds. But
nice.
Man, it's tough between that and Unchained for my all-time favorite. It's a perfect song. It's an absolutely perfect song. I love everything about it. We've kind of talked about it ad nauseum. I can't really add too much more. It starts perfect. It ends perfect. The band is tight. The lyrics are great. Dave's in his wheelhouse. I love the Ted Templeman cameo with the "Come on, Dave, give me a break." Mikey's killing it. The drums are fantastic. They sound amazing. The production on this album is so good. Fair Warning may be my favorite Van Halen album of all time. And there's so many that are kind of right up there with it, but I'm so glad we spun Unchained tonight. I'm so glad Matt called a shot and got the song he wanted. Matt, maybe explain final thoughts on Unchained.
Hey man, you guys covered it all. It's the greatest Van Halen song. I mean, really, it truly is. There's a top 10, there's a top 20, there's a top 50. You can argue about all of it, but the mountain of Van Halen starts with anything that starts with Unchained, I think. And so you guys covered it all. Thank you. I'm glad to be part of your thing. And I don't know, I there's nothing much more to say. My God, what a great song. Thanks, guys. Glad to be part of it.
Of course. Well, we're glad to have you, Matt. Thank you for being on the show with us, for being a fan, for being patient as well. Yeah, we know it's been a while, but if you got any social medias you want to promote, anything, let the people know.
All right, so yeah, if I had anything to say, I would say check out my friend Mark Tremonti, former guitarist of Creed and guitar player of Alter Bridge. He did a side album, Tremonti Sings Sinatra. Check out TremontiSingsSinatra.com. Check that out. He's doing a whole Sinatra song album with Frank Sinatra's original players, and all the proceeds go to NDSS for his daughter and everything that they're working towards. You should check it out. Check out the album and check out the cause there. That's all I got, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. Truly.
Well, we appreciate your patience. I know you wrote us back in April. It only took 6 months, but we're very happy to have you on the show. But I got to ask, I've been doing this lately. I'm curious, we're going to do this Price of Right style. Who can get closest to the number without going over? How many times do you think Unchained was performed by Van Halen live? Matt, you're the guest. You can go ahead and guess first. How many times do you think they played this song?
Jesus Christ. We're talking all the time?
Yep.
Jeez. It's got to be 800 times.
800 times? Okay, Mark?
See, I did pretty good at this last time. So let me think. This is Unchained. So you have to imagine they probably played it almost every night of its since its inception. I'm gonna say I'm just slightly undershoot. I'm gonna say 750 times.
Yeah, both went over 676 times according to setlist.com.
Wow,
right, that wasn't terrible.
It seems like it should be more, though. I agree with you guys.
It does. But that's fair enough. I mean, if we really think about it, 600 times is still a lot.
Yeah.
So especially over, 20, 30, 40 years or however many years it took since recording the song and then playing it live, everything like that. So, that's a lot.
Plus, they never played it during the Sammy era once. Like, that was never played, right? So it was up until Sammy, and then it was after Sammy. Yeah.
Gee,
that's a thing.
That's interesting. Yeah, so maybe that's what I was thinking. I think that's why I overshot it, because I just assumed that'd be one that Sammy did. But that's what happens when you assume, kids. Never assume anything. Corey, where can the people find the stuff going on with the show, and where can they find you if they want to shout you out?
Well, they can find us www.podcastwillrock.com. You can find us on our YouTube page, Podcast Will Rock. You heard Mark and I talk about it. We're maybe doing some more live shows in the future, so check it out there. You can find us on Twitter at Podcast Will Rock. And you can find us as part of the Deep Dive Podcasting Network, which I'll just quickly go through the shows here for you. We have T-Bone's Prime Cuts on the other side, the Deep Purple Podcast, Sabbath Bloody Podcast, Skinnerd Reconsidered, In the Lap of the Pods, The Magician's Podcast, Hawk Binge, Maiden A to Z, Diary of the Madmen, the Judas Priest Cast, Universally Speaking, Backtracks Aerosmith Revisited, So Far So Pod So What, the Tom Petty Project, which I was a guest on this week. Actually, that show just dropped today. If you want to learn more about me and talk a little Tom Petty, you can check out Kevin Brown's show, the Tom Petty Project there. Backtracks Theme Music, and Volume 4 for All is a new show added to the network, and as is Rock Roulette, where they also spin a wheel. Wheels are being very popular, Mark. They spin a wheel on Rock Roulette. And Kevin Brown's new Queen show, actually, they spin a wheel on that one, too. So that's where they can find me. They can find me on Twitter at CD Morissette as well. And Mark, where can the fine folks find you?
The busiest man on the web, Corey Morissette, everybody. Oh, you can find me at Mark the Bat on Twitter and Instagram, usually rambling, usually ranting about something that's angering me or something that I love. It's never usually an in-between. Music related, movie related, nerd things typically. But and then every once in a while I'll post something musically, what's going on. Hopefully, actually, sort of a not a spoiler alert, but a sneak peek, more music stuff to be announced very, very shortly. There are things in the works, so be on the lookout for that if you're interested. And then otherwise, you can yell at me about all my Van Halen inaccuracies. That's what we do here, man. We talk about Van Halen. We rock out to Van Halen. The show is all about Van Halen. It doesn't matter what era, because we're a fan of all of it. Even if the song in particular isn't our cup of tea, we're still gonna drink it because it's Van Halen. The Van Halen brand never fails to deliver, and we hope we have delivered a good show for you guys. Thank you all for listening, for tuning in. We are And the Podcast Will Rock, and we will rock you later.